Hello and welcome to the podcast, which I don't even have a name for right now because, well, I've not thought of one. And this is all pretty spur of the moment because I was just basically setting up the equipment that I got and to see if it would all work. And it is, it looks like it's working. So I've just decided to go for it and do my first ever podcast, which I'm so excited about because I've had this idea for a long time. Actually, I've had it for a long time, but I've told myself I was going to do it for the last 7 months because basically it was a New Year's resolution to start my own podcast this year at some point, and this is it, 21st of July 2017, and I'm currently recording my first podcast, which is awesome. I don't really know what to do right now or say. Um, so it's something that I've wanted to do for a long time for various reasons. First one is because the amount of value that podcasts have gave me over the years in learning and absorbing information, um, listening to people's stories, people's lives, all different sorts of things that I've listened to, not just kind of fitness and training. I've listened to a lot of music podcasts, football podcasts, comedy podcasts. It's me coughing already on this, but yeah. So sometimes I feel that there's just a lot of things, a lot of detail that I want to go into, and with various different subjects and topics, and I feel that I just can't really do that in a post sometimes because I think people are scrolling through Facebook and Instagram, when they're in a rush, when they are on a bus, on a train, maybe when they've got a spare 2 minutes, just flicking through. And if I've put up a meaningful post with a lot of information on that, I don't want people just to scroll past that. I want them to read it. And, you know, when for me, basically, as I said just previously, that for picking up, a lot of information at the one time, podcasts work really well for me for traveling, for just walking to work, to the gym. I love my music and I love listening to music, but when I found podcasts, I found it a really good way to spend my time on a bus or a train or walking or sometimes literally even doing the housework, um, to try and learn basically, or to listen to something funny or something just a bit different. So that's one of the reasons why I want to do it, because sometimes I just want to go off on big massive rants or put out a lot of info, and I feel that I don't want to do that on a Facebook or Instagram post. I've started doing a wee bit more videos recently, vlogs and stuff like that, but I think that this is just a better way, and I'm that type of person now that when I have an idea, when I have a goal, that I'm going to see that through. Like, you know, before growing up, well, not growing up, not when I was younger, but being an adult, I don't know, maybe like 18 to 24 or whatever, that I wasn't that type of person. I would think about things. I would be like, yeah, I want to do that. I'm going to do that at some point soon, and then it would never happen. But now, if I think of an idea and I really want to do it, I need to get it done. And this was one of those ideas, and this is me. I was sitting with equipment that I've either bought or I've got a loan of at the moment. And a big massive thank you to one of my clients, Andrew Bradley, who does a bit of podcasting himself. November Scott, you can find it. I think that's the name. But yeah, he had a lot of spare equipment lying around, and he's really helped me out with setting this up. So a massive thanks to him. Although it doesn't give you any leeway on your diet or your training, unfortunately, Andrew. But yeah, so I'm sitting here now just doing it. The other reason that I wanted to set up this podcast was because I have so many awesome people in my life that have amazing stories, and yeah, I want to speak to those people in this podcast, just have a conversation with them, but I want other people to hear it, so that's a great way for that. So I'm not going to be pigeonholing this podcast into like a fitness podcast. Yeah, I'm a coach, and I mainly talk around nutrition and training, a lot of mindset stuff as well. But I'm not just gonna keep the podcast to that, because I feel like there's just so much out there that value that I can put out there with the people that I know, clients, friends, that it's not just going to be on fitness. There's going to be stuff on, as I said, mindset. There's going to be chats around being self-employed and running your own business, because I think that, for me, working in a bank and trying to make that decision about switching to going self-employed, if I didn't sit and listen to things like podcasts and read books by people who have been in that position and done it and succeeded, I probably would have let the fear cripple me, and I probably would still be working in the bank. So if there's any slight chance that me or one of the guys that I bring on here and speak to can do that for somebody else, then that's huge, man. Like, that's literally what I'm all about. Just like helping other people do things that they maybe didn't think they could do, or have mega doubts over, fears, because it doesn't have to be that way. And I can't wait to get into some of the conversations with people that I'm going to do. I've already got quite a few people lined up to come in and have a chat with, and hopefully produce some awesome conversations that people will get something from. People will hopefully get some valuable stuff from it in regards to their life, and also maybe have a bit of a laugh at the same time. And I think it's going to be awesome. I hope. I really think it will. I'm so excited, man. So yeah, this is all a bit. This first one is a bit random, to be fair. I hadn't planned on doing this tonight. I had some things in my head about the first podcast and stuff, but as I said, I've just set the stuff up. Andrew helped me the other day, kind of show me how it was done. I thought, there's nobody in the studio right now, it's just me, there's no noise, and I thought I'd give it a go just to see if I could do it myself, and I did do it, and I just thought I would go for it. So I've got the video here, and obviously I've got the audio, so I know maybe not everybody likes the whole podcast thing. They want a visual as well, so I'm doing the video for YouTube. Hopefully, I don't actually know how that's going to work in regards to tying up the video with the audio. I think that's going to be really hard, but I will try, and hopefully I'll get the YouTube video up as well, so people can watch the video, or you can just, I'm going to hopefully have this on iTunes and SoundCloud and stuff, and people can just listen to that. So as I'm saying, like, podcasts can be a great thing for passing time when you're walking, commuting, doing the housework. Where else would I listen to a podcast? In bed? Well, honestly, like, sometimes I just find it hard to sleep. I don't get in from work till quite late in the evening, and maybe I will have something to eat and I'll watch something on the telly or play my PS4, and then I'll go to bed and I'm just too awake. I feel that lying in bed, listening to a podcast, listening to a voice, it's quite soothing, and it does help me doze off. So obviously I'll finish off the podcast if I fall asleep through it, maybe the next day on the bus going to work or walking into work. But yeah, it's another great one, listening to it in bed. Like, if you're having problems sleeping, I think podcasts are a great idea, a great thing to get into bed with, and hopefully help you doze off. So that's the kind of idea behind this. I'm just hopefully going to get some good content out that people can get something from. That's really all it is. So I'm excited about that. So while I'm here and doing this, I may as well just talk a wee bit about my weekend there. Then probably it's something that I had in my head to possibly talk about on the first one. A stag do I was on for my good friend Jonathan Mackenzie's stag in Barcelona last week, and it's the third stag do I have went on since I stopped drinking. Um, and people always ask me, like, how how is it going on a stag do when you don't drink? And I just want to talk a little bit about that, about what it's like for me, and also on a food sense, that to get across this idea that if you have a bit of junk food, you haven't ruined your diet or ruined your body or anything like that, because yeah, I ate a lot of junk food on the stag do, and I didn't put on any weight, but we'll come to that in a wee second. In regards to the actual, people always ask, like, how do you find it, not drinking and stuff? And there's two sides to it. There's one side that is really fucking hard. I'm not gonna lie. There's a side of it that you're away with your buddies, abroad. The three I've went on, two have been abroad. One's been down south. But anyway, you're away with your buddies for 2, 3, 4 days, 5 days in this instance, London, then Barcelona. And obviously it's a stag do, it's a group of guys, it's a party, and everybody's having a drink and getting merry. And I don't drink anymore. I haven't drank in over 5 years due to certain reasons that I'll maybe get into in another podcast about that. And yeah, I don't drink anymore, so I can't do that, and it's tough. Like, I didn't stop drinking because I hated it, and I stopped drinking because I had to, basically. And it's tough. It's tough being in that situation. I'm young. I'm only 30. Just turned 30. There's the Johnny who's getting married, 26. All the other guys that were there, but the same age or in between. And yeah, it's not easy. It's really hard to sit and watch everybody, drinking cold beers and Jack Daniels and whatever else, and you can't do it. It's tough, I wish I could have a beer with my mates, and I can't. However, that feeling of it being difficult, and me sitting there thinking, like, being a bit down on myself, going, God, I wish I could just be like everybody else in that sense. I just need to think about why I don't do it. I need to think about all the positives that have happened to me since I stopped drinking, and that's enough for me to get through it and not do it every time. I will never do it because there's just too many benefits to me not doing it. And yeah, that's what gets me through. So as the night goes on and then people start getting a bit more drunk, and you start to realise, I start to think to myself, if I was drinking in this situation, I would be probably one of the drunkest people here. I would maybe make an arse of myself, or I'd be spending all my money, or I'd black out, not remember stuff. The next day, there's hangovers, which I can't even think what it'd be like now after so long without one. But yeah, the whole hangover thing, like, it's so good waking up without a hangover every single time. Like, you feel fresh, you feel good to go for the next day. Good to, if you wanted to exercise, go a jog, go to the gym, go a swim, whatever. And you can do that. If you're dying with a hangover, you're probably not going to do that. You have better control over your day if you're not rough, and so that's always a big thing. And all those positives they just add up to too much for that one negative of in that moment at the start of the night when everybody's having a drink and I can't do it. Yeah, it's tough, it's quite hard, but at the same time, I get through okay. And most of the time it's all good with being with drunk people. Like, I don't really mind being around drunk people, especially because the amount of times I was probably the drunkest person in the room. Yeah, I don't mind. Like, my pals are pissed and having a laugh and maybe talking a lot of nonsense, but yeah, it's cool. I don't mind it too much. Obviously, there's some points when it gets to a point where I'm just like, oh man, I can't really do this anymore. I need to go home. But on a stag do, I don't know. It's different. Like, when I was in Benidorm for a stag do last year, I think I was like one of the last people to go to bed every night. Now, obviously, being sober and not getting really drunk and like almost passing out in a sense helps in that sense. But like even in Barcelona and in Newcastle, I went to in Newcastle, I was always out last. I was never one of the first ones to go to bed or anything, just because I was having a great time. Like I do enjoy going out with my buds, even when I'm not drinking. And I don't know what it is about being abroad, but I enjoy it even more. I am one of the first ones to leave if I go out in Glasgow. Usually because I get too hungry and I want to go home and have something to eat. But I don't know, I just enjoy being out abroad more, and it's great. I had a great time, and there was points on that stag do there that it got a bit too much, and I was like stressing out a wee bit due to certain reasons. But overall, yeah, it was great, and I wouldn't ever not go on one of these things just because I don't drink and everybody else does. Also, there was my bud Callum who was there, and he doesn't really drink either. So there was also a kind of other sober presence on the nights out and stuff, which was good. Plus, it wasn't even that rowdy. Like the people weren't getting absolutely crazy or anything like that. Yeah, there was a couple of them getting a bit crazy, but the whole group wasn't absolutely off their face or anything, and it was a great time. And so now kind of move on to food on the stag do, and sometimes I think people still don't grasp that you can eat, you know, bad food and not put on weight. Like you don't instantly just put on weight the minute you eat an ice cream. It all comes down to calorie balance, in versus out. How much are you taking in compared to how many calories are you burning? So I'm not gonna lie, right? The minute I left Glasgow on the Wednesday, there was I was eating junk. I didn't go crazy, but I had a lot of junk food. I had the stuff I wouldn't usually have on a day to day basis. I had a McDonald's breakfast leaving Glasgow. I had some chocolate on the train. We got to London. I had pizza that night. We flew out to Barcelona. We were having meals out every night, so the calories were going to be probably high then. I'm not saying I was eating total rubbish. I was going to like nice Japanese place, nice Spanish place, but also um, I did have some ice creams and some burgers, chips, things like that. You know, chocolate and crisps. But I also was very active on the holiday. I wear a Garmin step counter, and my steps were so high throughout the holiday every day, and I'm talking like 20 to 30,000, which is way more than what I would usually do, because basically the reason for that is because somebody told us it was 5 minute walk from the apartment to the beach. It turned out it was like an hour, so the amount of steps that we were doing was a lot every single day. We're walking about the city as well. We were walking around at night time. So steps were really high, which is a great form of exercise in regards to burning calories. Walking is underrated. So that was a factor. And I done a bit of swimming, nothing major, but I wanted to swim in the sea properly to see what it would be like, because I'm doing a triathlon in September, and that swimming is in the sea, and I'd never swam in the sea before, just open water in the Thames and up here in training in like a calmer open water. So I wanted to see what the water was like in the sea swim. So I done a bit of swimming that day. I think it was like half an hour swimming, which, you know, it's probably a decent amount of calories, but nothing crazy. And that was it really. But my calorie output was really high because of the walking that I was doing. So when I came back, I did weigh myself. I was the exact same weight as when I left. All that junk food, all that, a lot of non-alcoholic beers, which is, you know, calories. I had more calorific liquids than I would usually have. Some full fat juice, you know. Don't usually do that, but on holiday, you know, you go a bit crazy. So I had a lot of calories, but I burned a lot of calories, and it evened out. I was the exact same weight, and I didn't look any different either. So it was fine, and that just proves that, you know, the food choices aren't very good sometimes, but as long as overall the calorie intake isn't doesn't exceed your calorie output, you can still maintain or even lose weight if your food choices are rubbish. Now, obviously, that's going to affect how you feel energy wise, and maybe have effects on like your how you feel in your stomach and stuff like that. I've not felt great since I came back from holiday. I'm not going to lie. Since I came back, my fridge wasn't. I didn't have stuff in the fridge, so my food prep this week has been pretty non-existent and stuff. But so that hasn't been great. But yeah, in the grand scheme of things, it just proves a point that you don't just put on weight because you're eating rubbish. You need to look at the bigger picture, and you need to look at how active you're being and everything else. So yeah, I'm not saying for people to eat junk food, but I just hate it when I see people having something bad and beating themselves up over it, or thinking that they've ruined the day or the week just because they had some ice cream or a chocolate bar. Because God, like an avocado has more calories in it than a Snickers. So it just shows you, like, it's not all about, you don't have to have this perfect diet full of like the superfoods and healthy foods. I know I could keep doing that, but it's just because I don't believe there's bad and good foods. There's foods that have better nutritional value, etc. to it. But yeah, I'm kind of ranting on a wee bit now, but yeah, that was the stag do, and it was great. I got a wee suntan, and I had a great time with pals, and I took a wee break from social media, and that was good because I'm on that a lot, just with work and my football team and personal one and everything else. So it was good to take a wee break from that as well, and just get some sun. Like, our summer here has been terrible, man. Like, been rubbish. Weather's been absolute rubbish. I think it's pouring rain right now. July, what's happening? Don't know. But I think that's maybe where I'll wrap this today. First ever one. Hopefully this turns out okay. Sitting here for, I don't know how long this has been, but I hope it's recorded. I hope I can then save it properly, and I hope I can export it, blah blah blah, and get it out. As the first one, then I can start getting planning it a bit better and getting some more epic content out there, and of course the conversations I'm going to have with friends and clients and everything else is going to. I think it's going to be cool. I really hope it is, and I hope people listen to it. Probably won't, but we'll see what happens. So it's Friday night. I've had a long day. I've been in here since 7:30 this morning. No, it's 8:30. It's 8:30. I've been in since 7:30 this morning. It's been a busy day. It's been a really busy week coming back from Barcelona. I feel knackered, so I'm going to have a long lie tomorrow and see what happens over the weekend. So, yeah, I will speak to you guys soon. Bye. Hello, and welcome to the podcast, which I don't even have a name for right now.